This story begins with the introduction of our protagonist, Yifeng, a mortal cultivator. He explains that cultivators are people who come from another world, and in Yifeng's case, he was sent with a useless system. In a world where immortal cultivators exist, possessing many magical tools and good fortune unlike him, people treat him like garbage. A man compares the protagonist's punches to Og Qingyong and his kicks to Zhang Xinfeng, commenting that Yifeng could become the future martial arts god if he continues like this. We see Yifeng annoyed with the man because he scams people by claiming that the protagonist is the martial arts god and the strongest of all. The man flies into the sky, telling Yi to give him 5 stars for helping him. Then a news screen shows detailed information about the protagonist and why he has a bad system. His skills are based on boxing, swordsmanship, and knife handling. He also possesses other qualities such as money-making abilities, fighting techniques, and forging knowledge. Each of these attributes has an inscription stating that they are on par with the gods. Yifeng trains with a wooden dummy and explains that despite having these attributes, he is inferior because immortal cultivators have better brains than him. In the distance, 2 men spy on Yi while he trains. One asks why they are observing a mortal, to which the other replies that Yi's boxing technique has no respiratory fluctuations and contains the intention of the supreme martial arts. He also tells his companion that Yi is an unmatched martial god, leaving him impressed. We move to a scene where Yi is with his disciples who want to keep an old knife that the protagonist uses. He gives it to them, saying they can do whatever they want with the broken knife. The disciples start fighting among themselves, shouting in each other's faces, claiming that their friendships are over in order to win Yi's knife. As he walks towards his dojo, he thinks about a woman nicknamed the Saint of Saints who goes against his wishes by treating him. The protagonist enters the dojo, and the saint stops him. He comments that without money, it's impossible to continue, so she has the right to leave everything behind forever. The saint blushes, then excitedly bites her finger because of Yi. She had already given up everything for him out of love, stating that Yifeng is worthy of being above 10,000 people, proclaiming him as the true god of martial arts. While Yi is praised, he questions his disciples, asking if he truly is an unmatched god. Then why don't they understand the Tao? They reply that they do understand, that he is playing in a higher league, and it's normal. After this, they tell us the story of the cultivator's world. In the Xinjiang continent, there is great power in immortal cultivators, but this tradition began when an immortal presented themselves to humans. Their name is Trash Ashes, who discovered an unusual version of immortal cultivation. It only took 3 minutes to do it, and since then, the Xinjiang continent hurriedly started a rather large generation of immortal cultivation. 5 years later, in the small city of Jiangping where mortals live and work in peace, they show us a festival, and in the distance, a large lightning strike is seen, signaling that someone has advanced to the realm of the Grand Martial Master. Yifeng looks at that lightning and thinks that the person who managed to advance was very lucky. The protagonist explains how he came to that world, and we travel back in time where he recounts everything in a flashback. He had been playing in an immortal cultivation simulator for 90 continuous hours. He achieved the achievement of Navigator until he died. He reappeared in the simulator with nothing and was initially surprised. According to him, if you crossed to the other world, you were given a system. That's when the scammer appeared. It was the first time they met. The scammer referred to himself as the savior of the navigators, the possessor of the golden finger system. The savior explains to Yifeng what system he will get, which is the martial arts system, one that doesn't belong to the cultivation world. He gives the protagonist his attributes and previously known techniques, and he gets excited because he believes he will become an incredibly powerful god, imagining himself exterminating sects and having a harem of beautiful girls, etc. The savior mentions that he will help he improve his martial arts skills to the maximum and that he has a gym for practice. But he tells him that to do immortal cultivation, he needs an object called a spiritual root. Yifeng was about to ask why he was given a mortal system then, but the savior disappears, leaving the protagonist with shattered illusions. We move to a scene where he goes to a testing center in Jiangping to check if he has a spiritual root. The person in charge of the tests is impressed that the protagonist doesn't have a root since all navigators have one by default. For 5 years, he trained and took the spiritual root tests, but all the results were negative. Despite his attempts to fit in, he was always excluded from the Navigator Society. Resigned, he thought that the best thing to do would be to sell books and have money to survive. Suddenly, a little girl appears with a cultivator. He is impressed and tries to get their attention to become rich. The girl had never seen our protagonist's books, and the cultivator mistakes he for an immortal cultivator due to his refined way of speaking. but she realizes that he is a normal human, so she asks the girl, named Luo Lai, to go somewhere else. Quickly, he stops them by showing a pile of books and says that Luo Lai is a martial arts genius, so she should learn the secrets of fighting by buying the books for 10 gold coins. Luo Lai gets excited knowing that she's a genius and chooses a book called Luminous Whip. But her cultivator sister stops her, telling her that there are better places to spend money. The sister scolds Luo as they are in a critical situation at the castle gate, so she shouldn't have free time to read books. Moreover, she clarifies that they are immortal cultivators, so it doesn't make sense to buy things made by normal humans. He wants to approach and say something, but he doesn't dare to move. At that moment, Luo gets angry with her sister, shouting that she wants to buy the book. Suddenly, she grows taller and more muscular. The cultivator quickly approaches the protagonist and buys the book to satisfy Luo Lai. But our protagonist is completely impressed and terrified by the girl's appearance. They both leave, but he complains that he didn't get paid enough since each book is worth 10 gold coins. But they ignore him. Both sisters leave the city of Jiangping, and Luo asks her sister to read the book together because she has never seen anything like it. The sister agrees and reads the book, being hit by a strong aura of energy emanating from each page. It was an energy that only cultivators can feel. She feels the emotions of the energy, perceiving a loneliness that has only been abandoned by the galaxy, surrounded by enthusiasm for the carnival. The girl wonders what something is trying to fill her gaps, and we see the savior performing a ritual, tearing the girl's clothes. She comments that the book contains pure martial arts. Suddenly, a black octopus-like creature grabs the albino girl, starting to touch her. She was receiving great power. The girl falls to the ground, thinking that all her efforts to advance were in vain. After reading one page of the book, she advanced to the realm of Grand Martial Master in an instant. Luo approaches her sister, asking if she's okay, as she is completely red. The albino girl is now very impressed because Luo Lai was able to understand the protagonist's martial realm before her. The girl believes that the protagonist could be a world-class expert, so she decides to inform her master as soon as possible about the existence of Yifeng. We move to another scene where we see an old man fighting against a gatekeeper. The name of this old man is Lu Qingshan, who guarded the gates of the castle to the Wu Ling realm. Lu used his spear to try to decapitate the wolf but stopped when a strange figure appeared and preempted him. This man thanked him for his efforts in helping him enter the castle without causing much trouble. Lu confronts the man, telling him that the wolf had caused many casualties for months, so he cannot appear out of nowhere to steal the credit, shouting at him, asking where his martial ethics are. The name of this individual is Ning Xuanwu, ancestor of the Xuanwu sect. Both Ning and Lu were willing to fight to the death before the official competition. But Lu is surprised to see Ning release a purple energy from his hand, thinking that the spiritual power Ning absorbed propelled him to the realm of the martial king. We see a flashback where Ning and Lu agreed to face each other in a deadly fight in 3 days. Ning comments that it's a pity that due to Lu's failure, he will be absorbed by the Xuanwu sect. We return to our protagonist. A presenter tries to cheer up the audience but fails, and she believes that rumors of a tournament among cultivators do not motivate them. The audience begins to complain that everything is boring and the pace is not right. We move to a scene at the Qingshan Gate, where we see 2 boys training with their weapons. The 2 argue about their master, who has been secluded practicing for the deadly fight. A fat man with purple hair scolds them, saying that he has been with the master for over 30 years. He praises the master for being indomitable and never being afraid despite being in a crisis. He clarifies that the only difficulty the master faces is his determination, but now he will regain it. Lu bites a sheet thinking about how to defeat Ning Xuanwu, regretting that he spent years in the martial realm and never made any progress. He believes that he will die soon, until one of his students interrupts him, saying that Lan Zhu had something urgent to ask. Lu gives permission, and Lan Zhu enters, sitting in front of the master. She was the cultivator who bought the book from me. Lan tells him everything that happened in the store and with the book. But Lu doesn't believe that a mortal can be a cultivation master. The old man scolds her, saying that she, as a disciple of the Qingshan sect, is not concentrating enough to advance. He continues by commenting that she was deceived by street people and sees her as a fool. Lu opens the book to prove her wrong, and Lan comments that he should calm down because reading it all could be dangerous. The old man is hit by the spiritual energy and is surprised, looking at a distant sun. The book had transported Lu into his mind. It was the enlightened state, as if he were fleeing the fight against the Xuanwu sect. Since becoming a master, no one else has challenged him to prove his strength, unlike Ning Xuanwu. A figure with tentacles appeared in Lu's mind, hitting him and leaving marks on his body. He cried with happiness because he finally made progress. A huge lightning bolt is seen in the distance. He watches the lightning while eating noodles, thinking that the person who advanced is an idiot. Lu looks at the book in amazement, while Lan tells him that he advanced to the realm of the martial king. Lu tells the girl that the opportunity to kill the Xuanwu sect is in the book. Then he gives Lan a mission to find the protagonist so he can continue making more books and pay him with respect. However, Lan feels afraid of the mission, thinking that if she annoys he will destroy the castle. We switch to a scene with the protagonist cooking meat, and he tells us that mortal methods are not popular in this world, but at least he was able to sell the book to 2 cultivators and have a meal. Suddenly, a dog steals a piece of meat, and 3 individuals chase after the dog. The dog shouts at them to stop chasing him or he will kill them. He was betrayed by members of his clan, and his spiritual powers are nearly depleted, but he will still defend himself. He realizes that he is in front of him cooking meat. He believes that he is preventing him from escaping, so he attacks him from behind, proclaiming himself as a prince. However, the protagonist quickly senses his attack and stops him by grabbing his head. He is happy to see a dog in Jiangping City, but the dog sees it as an offense and defends itself by launching its most powerful attack. He is unaffected, and the attack only managed to knock over the plate of meat. The prince is impressed that the attack did nothing to Yifeng, so he begins to fear him. He thought it was impossible for a mortal to rival cultivators. He looks at the dog, considering eating it, but the canine faints from fear. Meanwhile, Lu and Lan are heading back to the city to look free, wondering how strong he is in a one-on-one fight. We now shift to Jiangping Market, where a feminine-looking boy walks wounded while several people shout at him, saying that if they catch him sneaking into the Qingshan Gate, they will kill him. They also insult him for not having anything remarkable and not having spiritual roots. His name is Zhang King, and he throws himself to the ground, lamenting that he has disappointed his uncle, until he interrupts, saying that from his posture, it seems like he's going to take his food. The aroma of the meat reaches Zhang, and he steals all the protagonist's food. He asks him if he was expelled from the Qingshan sect, and he answers yes. Yifeng tells him that he is short of personnel and needs more men, tossing a key towards the martial arts hall. Zhang catches it and sees the protagonist running. The protagonist clarifies that he will just go buy some condiments before going home, even though the boy hasn't accepted to be part of his personnel yet. Zhang thinks there's something wrong with he but ignores it since his priority is finding a job in Jiangping to support his parents. Half an hour later, we see Lu and Lan arriving at a palace, looking for their boss. Lu looks at the strange paintings that hold great spiritual power. The old man says that although the ancestors of Qingshan don't understand a single word, it seems like they are telling him about the disputes between sects, their weaknesses, and strengths specifically. Zhang looks at both of them and asks if they are guests. They introduce themselves, saying they are from the Qingshan sect, which annoys Zhang a little, thinking that they are trying to catch him for infiltrating. He apologizes to them, revealing the truth about his infiltration and begging for his life, but Lan and Lu ask him to stop. They are completely confused and scared. Both the old man and the girl look at Zhang's feather duster, believing it was a test for them to continue evolving as cultivators. They thought their master was a descendant of Buddha, and to advance, they had to get rid of distracting thoughts. Zhang doesn't fully understand the situation, and Lu and Lan offer to help clean. The boy tries to stop them, but he fails. At night, Lu and Lan meet with the protagonist. The protagonist thanks the albino girl for coming back to pay the remaining amount for the book, inviting them to stay for dinner. Yifeng shows Zhang the dog, telling him to cook it for food. Lu tries to perceive our protagonist's cultivation base, but being a mortal, he cannot see it, imagining that he has unimaginable strength. Both of them watch he cooking attentively, praising his knife technique despite it being too ordinary, until Lu notices the wolf and tells Lan to look at it. It was a demonic wolf that devours the sky, one of the rarest types of monsters. Lan comments that if they cook it, it will be dangerous as the demon clan will pursue them for the rest of their lives. The old man tells a story to the albino girl, recounting a rebellion between gods and demons that occurred long ago. The demonic wolves faced 30,000 Buddhas and still managed to survive. The wolf breaks free from the ropes placed by Yi and begs for mercy, which frightens the old man. But he starts crying tears of joy when he sees that the protagonist spares its life, saying that he is truly kind. Lan tells them that it's not the time to be moved and that they should ask the protagonist for a magical weapon. According to them, the knife has impressed the demonic wolf, who are at the peak of martial arts, so Lan begs Yi to lend her his knife and save their sect from extinction. Lu forcefully slams the albino girl's head on the ground, scolding her for exposing the family's greed. Both of them start to fear Feng, thinking he is angry, but he lends them his knife, clarifying that it's not something valuable. They are impressed by how easily the protagonist agreed, but he tells them that he can make more kitchen knives in a day, so there's no problem. He thinks they are pitiful, believing they must be too poor to afford a knife. We switch to a scene with Ning Xuanwu giving an order to one of his servants to send a message to the Qingshan Gate. Ning takes a secret path until he meets a hooded figure named Yu Wuji, who informs him that his greatest concern has come true. He tells him about Lu's progress, who reached the Martial King rank after reading the book. However, Ning responds that he has already held the Martial King rank for 30 years, so it's not a problem. He orders him to get to the point. Yu Wuji talks about Qingshan's movements, who gathered all their disciples in the courtyard. We now move to the disciples. Among them is a teacher named Zhu Yun, complaining about why they were summoned so late. It was a test they had to do. They have to break a seemingly indestructible stone that even with magical weapons, only scratches it. Lu tries to hit the stone with his kitchen knife, but Zhu scolds him, asking why he would attempt it with something like that. The old man thinks he must be careful not to be too forceful since he doesn't know the power of the knife, so he lightly touches the stone with the tip. The stone breaks with a loud explosion, startling everyone and causing a meteor shower. Zhang shows the wolf the shower, and it yells that the meteors are coming towards them, but wonders how cultivators can possess such a powerful weapon. He, from his house, watches the shower, thinking it's a shooting star, making a wish. A harem of many women, all the money in the world, and unlimited food. All the disciples asked what happened. They were scared that the stone could break. Everyone praises him for achieving the sect's greatest feat. Lu falls in love with the knife because of its immense power, and concludes that he is probably above his martial ancestor, Wu Zong. So he orders them to fight to the death against the Xuanwu sect tomorrow. Ning begins to suspect that someone is helping him, as it is impossible to progress so quickly. The leader gives Yu a poison from the ice toad and grants him freedom. Ning meets a woman named Ling Yao and asks her to lead him to the sword cemetery. Once there, she tells Ning that he should never take the sword of demented souls out of the cemetery as it is dangerous. But he doesn't listen and draws the sword, unleashing thousands of souls into the world, which decimate the animal life in the area. Ning clarifies that with the sword by his side, not even the gods can defeat him. All they need to do is break down the... And that's how the first part of this story ends. If you've reached this part of the video, let me tell you that you've been one of the few people to make it here. So, comment the word 10,000 in the comments. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this story. With that being said, see you in the next video.